South Africa waking up this morning as we go into our elections, nearly 47 minutes to be exact, before the polling stations open around the country. A lot of people asking, what time do they open? Well, they open at 7 o'clock. They close at 9 o'clock this evening. And that is where you can go down and cast your votes. Now, remember, if you are not in the province that you live in, you can still go down to a voting station and cast your vote for the national elections. However, you need to be in your province to be able to vote in the provincial vote. That's an important point for you to note. If you, for some reason, are in KwaZulu-Natal, but you live in Gauteng, you won't be able to vote in the provincial elections, but you will be able to vote in the national elections. So you don't have to be at your specific voting station. Remember that is a municipal election issue, but you can vote anywhere in your province. That is something that you need to know. So if you go out to the office, wherever it may be, get 2 ballot papers and cast both of your votes, one for the provincial, one for the national. Exciting day, isn't it? We've been hearing about it for so long, and it's finally here, and we're minutes away from this massive general election. It's a great time to be alive, it really is. Let's talk to my analyst who's in studio with us, Mike Siluma. It's great to have you. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Liam.
It's an exciting day, isn't it? I mean, we've been hearing so much about this election, and you know, the feeling amongst a lot of South Africans, I think, is enough talk. Please, let's just get this over and done with. Do you feel that sense as well?
No, I do feel that, but I think that of all of us, the people who are feeling the tension the most are the IEC itself. Because they carry the largest share of the burden for making sure that that in the end we deliver an election that is generally acceptable and seen as having been free and fair and credible, And this time round, I mean, we've got the highest number of registered voters and the highest number of polling stations. So their burden has actually increased with the increasing number of voters. So they carry a huge burden over the next couple of days, starting today, to make sure that all the hiccups are dealt with and taken out of the system, so that we end up with an election that is generally accepted by everyone as having been a true reflection, of what South African voters want.
I mean, it's a phenomenal thing for everything you're saying. It's all record-breaking stuff. The most amount of voters, we're looking at about 27 million registered voters. We're looking at about 23,000 voting districts around the country, and those are the things that we wait for. 48 political parties contesting these national elections, provincial 78 parties. I mean, it is growing and it is growing and it is growing. What does that tell you about South Africa in general and our democratic election system?
I think it tells us about the openness of the system. When you have got 48 parties, wanting to go to parliament, without once you've complied with the requirements of the IEC, practically anybody, can stand. Any party can contest. So it tells us that. It tells us about the plurality of opinion in the South African body politic, that you're not having a stratified, dominant viewpoint, that there are many different viewpoints, and you can even see it in terms of I was looking at the logos yesterday, the variety of, essentially you've got this Christmas tree of party logos, but a lot of them are talking to similar things. They're talking to economics, they're talking to the politics, they're talking about equality, they're talking about issues of the land, issues of wealth redistribution, etc. So it's a spread. And then there are the women first, parties that stand up for women, parties that stand up for capitalism,
green parties
that stand up for it's a good variety of the. But the reality is that the vast majority of those parties are actually going to disappear after the announcement of the results on the weekend, whether it's going to be Saturday or whenever. A lot of those we're never going to hear from most of those parties again, because a lot of them are actually like what used to be called Lien, a man and a fax machine. That's what they
That's pretty much so what it is. But let's talk about the party that isn't just a man and a fax machine, and these parties that have been there. And I mean, we hear so much about the bigger parties and the parties that are making a noise. But what about your parties like COPE? What about the UDM? What about Agang? What about, and the list goes on and on. Those parties that have been there, they've been sitting in parliament, and yet Are we going to see them disappearing as well? I'm just using examples,
yeah.
but there are some of those parties that may very much so fall off the radar.
Yes, there will be a realignment. I think that there are parties which have been there, but which have not gained much traction. You know, when you've been contesting elections for the last 25 years, and all you can show for it is one MP in Cape Town, then it means that you're not gaining much traction. But then what you have is that when a party like the EFF comes on the scene and it starts eating away at the support of all these smaller parties, it changes the paradigm completely. So I would expect that many of the parties that are like having one MP in Parliament, etc., will disappear at the end of the day.
If you had to make your prediction, are there any politicians that we've, like you say, we've been there, we've seen them for years and years and years, that this could be the end of their political career? Cope, let's talk to Cope. What do you think? Do you think that we will see them getting anywhere in these elections?
I think that the parties that are most in danger would be the parties which are small and which are built around one man or one woman. Those are the parties, that I would say are vulnerable. Parties like the APC may battle because a lot of parties like Ahang may battle because they draw their, for example, the APC stronghold would be in Bushbuckridge. It's not as if it's got, support all over the country. Similarly with Ahang, it's limited. The UDM may be stronger because it has got representation in more than one province. Their support is much better spread. It is not solid nationwide, but their support is much more widespread, than a party like the APC, for example.
All right. We're going to continue to chat, Mike. I'll leave it there for now because we're going to continue to get some reports from around the country where our journalists are set up. And now let's go over to Zimkit.